Good evening and welcome to Honoring Black History, sharing our stories. I'm Mike Montecalvo.
And I'm Shannon Heggie. Over the next half hour, we'll examine the impact of Black history on our country and here in Rhode Island, starting with a Rhode Island native who now holds a high-level job working for the president. 12 News politics editor Ted Nesi has his story.
Gabe Amo says it's an honor every day to work at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but it's also hard work. Is it still impressive to you to work here?
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing.
When Gabe Amo shows up at the office each morning, he finds himself at the most famous address in the United States.
There's the entrance to the West Wing.
So you go into there, the Oval. Which way would you head?
You would take a left.
Yep.
And if you didn't know where you're going or asking too many questions, they'd probably send you.
Amo serves as a special assistant to the president, acting as the Biden administration's liaison to the nation's mayors. Is there another Gabe who has a different part of the country, or do you have the mayors and county governments for all 50 states?
It's shocking, but it's all of them. Whether it's your snowstorm or your wildfire or your mass shooting, I'm often one of the first people in the federal government that somebody is hearing from.
Last July, that meant reaching out to the mayor of Highland Park, Illinois, hours after a mass shooting there, and staying in contact as the community recovered.
That's an example of, just being in touch and being at the front door and making sure that we are there for people in their times of need. And that's an ethos that the president, he really, really values, being there for the American people. And for me, it's being there for America's mayors.
Amo has come quite a ways from his years growing up in Pawtucket. The son of immigrants from Ghana and Liberia, he thinks his parents helped spark his interest in politics. Where did it come from? When did that start for you?
I don't know. I think my parents, my dad in particular, consumed a lot of news, so I sat a lot in front of the TV watching news.
He got his start in politics as a volunteer, licking envelopes for Attorney General Patrick Lynch, then landed his first paying job on Sheldon Whitehouse's 2006 U.S. Senate campaign. Amo went on to work for President Barack Obama, Governor Gina Raimondo, and now President Biden.
It'll be a long night. I hope I'm home before midnight because we have a big day tomorrow.
On the day 12 News visited, Amo was preparing for the president to welcome more than 300 mayors to the White House. His day began at 6 a.m., and he didn't arrive home until after midnight.
I don't take for granted the opportunity to serve, and it might mean some late nights, but I catch up on sleep just like everybody else on the weekends, on the federal holidays, and the times where appropriate.
Unless there's a blizzard coming somewhere.
Unless there's a blizzard, and then you're back on the conference calls.
As for his own political future, Amo tells me he isn't ruling out a run for public office in Rhode Island down the line. In Washington, Ted Nesi, 12 News.
Now to a member of the Black community who's making a difference as a trailblazer in the Rhode Island National Guard.
Tonight, we're introducing you to Colonel Sharon Harmon. Throughout her career, she's earned awards including a Bronze Star and the Meritorious Service Medal. Last year, she made history when she was promoted to Colonel, the first ever Black person to achieve that rank in the Rhode Island National Guard. 12 News reporter Amanda Pitts has her story.
I really enjoyed doing this, though.
Colonel Sharon Harmon is living out her dream. But joining the military started out as her father's dream.
He would have me watching westerns and military movies all the time.
Her father always wanted to enlist, but that goal was unattainable because of a medical condition.
One of the things I thought about pursuing is maybe pursuing one of his passion, because he at the time was like my hero.
Harmon did just that. After leaving her home state of South Carolina, she moved to Woonsocket, Rhode Island in 1984. By 1985, she had joined the military. Her father's passion quickly became hers.
I joined the 455th General Hospital in Providence, Rhode Island.
But as a low-ranking member, Harmon dreamed bigger. She transferred to the Rhode Island National Guard and went to school to become an officer.
In August of '95, I was assigned as a chemical officer.
Then she became an education officer, and from there,
I was commissioned as a second lieutenant.
Continued to climb the
Became a
ranks.
first lieutenant.
And higher she climbed.
I'm a captain, and after captain, you become a major. From major, you go to lieutenant colonel.
Reaching that rank was an important moment.
I knew that I was getting ready to make history in the Rhode Island National Guard as being the first female African American to be promoted to Lieutenant Colonel.
To reach the next rank of colonel, Harmon had to push through 2 of her toughest years at the Army War College.
I tell you, there was so many times I wanted to quit. I was at that brink where I was like, I've had enough of this. This is too much.
With her sights set on her goal, her determination paid off in August of 2022. Harmon made history again, becoming a colonel, the first black person in the history of the Rhode Island National Guard to do so.
I was very happy when I made that rank.
Now, in her favorite role so far,
And then that's me. Look, that's my office.
she's leading the family program, overseeing the very offices that helped her own family when she was deployed to Afghanistan in 2011. On her desk, it says Girl Boss next to her new colonel nameplate, though her father, who died in 2004, only got to see her become Captain Harmon.
That's about all he really needed to see, because I remember when we used to watch some of the shows on TV, the highest rank we did see an African American was a captain.
Statistically, African Americans make up just roughly 17% of the United States military.
There's been many of times that I've walked through these hallways or sitting in a meeting or sitting at the table or something, and I would be the only African American there.
But Harmon says she's never felt excluded or out of place, though she does feel a weight on her shoulders to prove that a black woman deserves her seat at the table.
Yeah, the pressure's there. Oh yeah.
Now not looking a day over 38 herself, she's somehow entering her 38th year of service, now focused on paving a path for black people coming up behind her.
Right now, my main goal is just to be a good role model or a good mentor.
Now, if you're considering joining the National Guard, Colonel Harmon says they are always looking to add diversity to their ranks. Head to our website, WPRI.com, for more information and for more on Colonel Harmon's story. I'm Amanda Pitts, 12 News.
Still to come, shining a light on a local community that served as a beacon of hope during the time of the Underground Railroad.
Welcome back to Honoring Black History, a look at impactful stories in the African American community. The New Bedford Historical Society is ensuring that the city's role in the Underground Railroad is preserved.
Right now, work is underway on 7th Street to create Abolition Row Park, complete with a large statue of Frederick Douglass. Kate Walsh shows us New Bedford's rich history from inside Douglass's first home as a free man.
New Bedford, the whaling city, known for its role in lighting America with whale oil. But through the 1700s and 1800s, it also served as a beacon of hope, guiding enslaved people to freedom.
This is my 4th great-grandparents. That's Amelia Piper and her husband, William.
Lee Blake tells the rich history of New Bedford's role on the Underground Railroad. It's part of her story and that of so many New Bedford residents today.
We know that there are at least 700 fugitives who came to live in New Bedford. There are lots more that came and went on the ships and went through New Bedford or went through New Bedford to go to Canada.
You see, many of the whaling captains were Quakers.
They really believed that everybody had a soul. Everybody was equal in the eyes of God.
She said enslaved people would not so secretively sneak onto whaling boats.
You know, essentially they say, oh, you know, we were out to sea and we looked around on our boat and we found a fugitive and the wind wasn't right. We couldn't turn around, so I just want you to know we dropped off somebody named Michael in New Bedford.
That's how the captains would cover themselves legally on the federal level, but in Massachusetts, African Americans were free. We're sitting in the Nathan and Polly Johnson house on 7th Street. Polly came from a Black and Wampanoag family who were slaves in nearby Tiverton, Rhode Island. As free people in New Bedford, Nathan owned a bathhouse, which is now the Whaling Museum, and Polly was an event planner.
And they had support from their white employers who gave them small loans, which they paid off.
Their home here became a safe haven to enslaved people making their way north along the Underground Railroad and was most notably the first home Frederick Douglass lived in as a free man.
And there are some instances where Frederick Douglass talks about how going to the churches here Sometimes he was asked to sit in the back.
Blake says there are documented examples of African Americans winning lawsuits against white residents.
There was no discrimination or segregation in our public schools. So there are interesting stories of individuals, plantation owners, who had fathered black children, who sent their children here to go to school.
Blake said, "We know all of this today because everything was either written down in bank ledgers, speeches, or through oral tradition." I'm Kate Walsh, 12 News.
We head now to Cleveland,
where Jasmine Bailey shows us how the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame honors game-changing black performers and their lasting impact on music and culture.
The story of rock and roll begins at its root.
Rock and roll is not a genre that was built and grown in a vacuum. It's inspired by so many other amazing genres.
Waka Onwusa, chief curator at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, says gospel, blues, country, folk, bluegrass all led to today's melting pot of music that we call rock. Many of its pioneers are black.
You're talking about the Robert Johnsons, the John Lee Hookers, B.B. King, so many amazing bluesmen who have impacted the sound of rock and roll, who have inspired the sound of rock and roll, R&B, funk, hip hop.
An undeniable evolution traced through the dozens of Black Rock Hall inductees.
Nina Simone, she was inducted in 2018. Isaac Hayes to Ray Charles, James Brown, Jay-Z, LL Cool J. I mean, our list goes on from past, present, and future.
Celebrating the past includes a deep look at black artists' fusion of music and activism, from Public Enemy inductees who brought socially conscious rap to the masses.
They were very raw in their message. The lyrics that we actually have on display in this exhibit called It's Been Said All Along is fight the power. I mean, fight the powers that be.
To Aretha Franklin, the first woman ever inducted. Franklin performed at Radio City Music Hall in this Valentino dress, singing Respect, a song that became the battle cry of a generation.
These are like anthems to encourage you through your fight, through your social justice fight, through your fight as a woman.
Here at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, black artists are also celebrated for bringing the world music that sparks joy. You could argue no one does that like Earth, Wind & Fire.
On display, some of the elements' dazzling capes from their stage sets. Each exhibit an opportunity to tell the personal stories of icons like Tina Turner, who overcame domestic violence and owned the 80s, to Whitney Houston and Lionel Richie, who Onwusa says made music that was at times deemed not black enough.
Both of them stood strongly and stood so firmly in saying, I just want to make music. Just good music.
The struggle behind the music never overshadowing its impact.
That's the thing about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When you come into this space, learning about these artists, like, oh my God, you know, like you identify with that moment, that song, that artifact, that dress, that music video. And there's so many mediums that are celebrated here to educate, inspire, and spark that joy.
Johnny be good.
Coming up, we're meeting the entrepreneur behind Rhode Island's first selfie museum and learning what it means to her. Welcome back. This month we are honoring Black history, sharing stories from across the country, and tonight we are diving into Ebony and Jet magazines.
The magazines told significant stories to communities of color, often through pictures. Now those photographs are getting new life thanks to a multi-million-dollar purchase. Donna Terrell has the story.
Now we're in it. Black is black. That's pretty good.
Through a camera lens.
Oh, that's you.
85-year-old Roy Lewis produces images.
An artist has time to create sculpture, painting, but a photographer, we only have seconds. It's a second.
And with each second, a story is told.
This is called The Lion, the Lioness, and the Cub. I tell people that I write with pictures.
In 1956, Lewis began working here at Johnson Publishing Company, JPC in Chicago, which produced Negro Digest, Jet, and Ebony magazines in the mid-40s, the pioneers in storytelling for black households around the country.
It represented a mountain, you know, the top of the mountain for black journalists.
Within these pages, photographers like Lewis made history. Now their camera film roles live on after the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture and the Getty Research Institute acquired the historic JPC archive. It includes photos, negatives, and contact sheets spanning more than 7 decades.
Perhaps my favorite image is this image of Marvin Gaye, who many know that his father was a minister.
Part of the $30 million collection can be seen here at the museum's Spirit in the Dark exhibit. Black life is seen through historical figures in entertainment, religion, and politics. Each camera flash reveals the blurred lines between music, activism, and pop culture, connected by common themes. What's here is only a snapshot of the rolls of film containing more than 4 million visuals soon to be available to the public. Many of these images will really focus on just the regular person.
That's true across the board. I think it's really important for people, particularly young people, to be able to see themselves somehow, not just reflected in the photograph, to see their humanity reflected in the photograph, but to see themselves reflected in the history that the photograph documents.
A Providence woman proving dreams do come true. Maisha Davis opened a unique business on Good Friday last year, hoping to capitalize on the popularity of selfies.
Each room dedicated to a theme, including taking pride in the rich black history of our country. Not just this Black History Month, but every month. I had a chance to check it out. Maisha, this is pretty cool. When'd you come up with this idea?
I just wanted to create something like cool for the people of Providence to enjoy. Bars! I'm an artist at heart, so just want to create something for people to take selfies. We also do music videos as well, so if, inspiring artists, rapper, or whatever, they can definitely come in and complete a music video here. Everyone loves the money room. The money looks so real, and the constant question I get all the time is the money real? And I'm like, sure, I have hundreds just laying around for you.
The only problem is Tony Petrarca's pictures on these bills, so I don't think they're going to buy a lot.
No. Okay.
I'm not going to fall through the floor here, am I?
No, not at all. This room is my favorite room. LED floors that lights up, and then the mirrors all around. Everyone loves mirrors. You see people take selfies in mirrors all the time, so this one definitely is my favorite room.
How'd you come up with the idea of the flags?
Well, with Rhode Island being so multicultural, I just wanted to be able to represent every culture. Anyone could come here and put the crown on and feel just as much as a queen or princess as they want. Everyone loves designer, and like you said, you may not always be able to afford it, but you want to take a nice picture. It's a great spot for it.
Maisha, somebody watching this is going to be like, how do you make money doing this?
This place is dope, man.
Well, we have an entrance fee. It's $20 entrance for adults and $10 for children under 12, and you get to take as many pictures, TikToks, or videos as you like.
I got you. Stay like that.
Everyone would like to float in the clouds, right? Who's coming into your business?
So I have all types of people that come in, children, adults, people of all ages. I feel like adults enjoy it more than the actual kids.
What's it like being an entrepreneur, especially during hard times?
As an entrepreneur, I'm the plumber, I'm the electrician, I'm the cleaner, I'm everything.
Some of these rooms are fun. You were on the swing, making a video with a microphone, but this is symbolic.
Yes, I think it represents strength. I think it represents power. I think it represents women power.
A local artist, Aganza, who's done a lot of work in the city of Providence, did this, but there's a message here.
Exactly. It really speaks to mental health. Like right there it says, I'm not crazy, I'm creative. And then there's love in all different languages, and definitely speaks to self-love.
This church bench means a lot to you.
Yeah, so when I created this area, I really wanted to give like an old Southern Baptist type feel. It's symbolic for me because I grew up in church. I have some of my great aunts' church hats in here. Make you feel like you're at home.
What does Black History Month mean to you?
Black History Month means everything to me. It's a month to celebrate and highlight Black people's accomplishments, things that we have created, throughout history.
You feel like you're blessed?
Absolutely. I definitely feel like I'm blessed. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to even be able to open this business and share my skills with other people.
Good for her. It looks like a lot of fun.
That was a fun story to do.
Thanks so much for joining us as we honored Black history.
And you can see extended coverage of all of these topics right now on our website, WPRI.com. Good night.